It's kind of funny. I have, as you know, an online air conditioning training course, and I've done a lot of on-site and hands-on training, and a lot of the wannabe and prospective HVAC technicians always think that it's the hands-on part and learning the trade that makes them a successful technician. But there's a whole lot more to it than just learning the hands-on part. You need to be safe. That's a huge part of your job to protect yourself, your family, and your company. You need to be conscious of the need to conserve energy and protect the environment. Again, for you, your company, and the environment, it's a EPA fines can be in the tens of thousands of dollars for both you personally and the company that you work for. And you need to make sure that you follow all applicable codes and standards set forth by your local code officials, the national codes, and by your company's policies as well. So in our textbook, there's about one full page of safety tips in level 1 here. So we'll go over those quickly, and then I'm going to share with you some things that I've seen personally. So as an HVAC technician, you're going to work off of ladders on rooftops. I've seen people lifted up above icy roofs in a man basket, on a crane, scissor lifts, and so forth, and even baskets on forklifts as well. So it involves a lot of working at heights, not only on ladders and going up and down ladders, but working on ladders with electrical things happening and torches and so forth. You work with refrigerants and oils. Those can also be dangerous to your health. You'll be working around natural gas and propane, and some of you will be working around oil furnaces as well. So I have seen over the years, there are so many ways that you can't even imagine that you can end up getting sent to the hospital or to the grave working as an HVAC technician. I mean, you got to be safe in every trade, but there are unbelievable amount of ways that you can get hurt. You really need to pay attention. So what are some of those ways? All right, electrocution. You are going to be working around high voltage nearly all of the time, and several times a day, if not all day. And you know, when you get zapped with 120 or 230 volts, it hurts, and it could cause injury to you, but it's more of a wake-up call than anything. But the next call you go on, if you're working on a three-phase 480 volt circuit, you're going to get sent to the grave. And this happened actually about a mile and a half from my house at a convenience store. The technician was working on, in the rain, on the roof, on a 480 volt system, and when he didn't report back home and back to work the next day, it was at night, the fire department went up there, and he was still in contact with the power line, and of course he was dead and gone. You really need to, before you stick your fingers in anything to pull a wire, shoot some pliers in there to grab anything, you need to double and triple check that the power is disconnected. And one of those reasons is I have seen, first of all, service disconnects on some of the residential systems that have had the wires hot wired within the box. I'll post some pictures of that up there for you to check out. And I've also seen three-phase rooftop systems where people have put lengths of pipe, half-inch pipe in there instead of fuses, and I've also seen it wired directly around the disconnect to bypass the fuses as well, and that also bypassed the disconnect. Double and triple check that the power is always disconnected before you stick your fingers in there. And then make sure that you lock out and tag out your power disconnects if it's not right up there by the unit. Okay, cuts and lacerations. All right, commercial equipment. When you're working on the commercial equipment and you pull the service panel off, the condenser fan blades are right up above the compressor in most cases, and they're spinning so fast you can't see them, and they're just a blur, and you get intent on what you're doing and burn yourself on something and jerk your hand up, you're going to get your fingers sliced off. Also, when you're working on residential equipment, especially, the evaporator coils are stamped metal, and those are like razor blades, and they will cut your fingers open. Wear gloves. All right, so this sounds really stupid, but I can guarantee you, just remember this. One day you're going to turn a motor off, and it's going to still be spinning, and you're going to want to stop that fan blade with your fingers and or with your hands to speed things up. I just going to recommend don't do that. I saw someone get their finger split down to the bone doing that. So just mark my words. One day you're going to be thinking about doing it. Don't do it. All right, crush injuries. Besides dropping things on your feet and smashing your fingers, belt-driven motors, those are pretty dangerous. Um, with loose clothing and so forth, you need to pay attention that you just don't get anything near that rotating pulley and that belt. Also, even when you take the power off and you're changing belts, sometimes there's tension. Well, not sometimes, all the time there's tension on that belt, and getting the belt off is not so difficult. But you could easily roll your finger between the belt and the pulley while putting those new belts on. You need to really be careful with that. This one freaks me out for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, fall hazards. This is one that this is my other freak out moment, is getting up on ladders and working on icy roofs and so forth. So ladder safety and situational awareness on the roof is critical, and you just need to make sure that you're not up on a gutter that is your ladder's not up on a gutter that's not properly secured and is going to bust off about halfway up the ladder. And you know what, if you don't think a situation is safe, or you don't feel comfortable getting up on that roof, whatever it is, you just need to step back and give a call back to the shop and just discuss what's going on with your service manager. And make sure you practice proper ladder safety. That's something that should be demonstrated and talked about in your safety classes. And when you're going up on a ladder, you're going to want to carry all your crap up there by hand instead of climbing up and dropping the ladder down and climbing down and tying things up. You need to rope all your equipment and tools up onto the ladder. I mean, I've seen guys put a compressor on their shoulder and climb up the ladder, and yes, they made it, but you do that too many times and you won't. All right, texting. I know this is a sore spot. I am guilty and have been guilty of doing this. Everything we do now is that our communication is digital, and everything you get from dispatch is either on a laptop or an iPad, and you will find yourself driving down the road, reading your text, driving with your knee, reading your text, taking down notes and customer information. Do not do that. Just pull over and take a minute and make sure you're safe. And if you don't do it for yourself, you need to do it for the person that's on the road next to you, for your wife and your kids. It's pretty important. Okay, so this is my take on safety. Most accidents are going to happen because of complacency, familiarity, or expediency. So what's going to happen is you're going to be working days on end during the busy season, and you will have used your voltmeter, replaced belts, used your ladders so many times that you're going to stop thinking about safety, and that's when you're going to get in trouble, and that's when you're going to get hurt. The other thing is familiarity, and it kind of goes with complacency. Complacency is just not paying attention and not thinking about it. Familiarity is thinking, I've done this 1,000 times. I don't need to turn off the power. It's not a big deal. I can pay attention and just do it because I've done it 1,000 times without touching the wire and the power's off. Don't get too familiar with what you're working on. And then expediency, that's the one I'm talking about, where instead of letting the blower wheel or the fan blade slow down and stop on its own, you're going to try and make it a little bit faster and have it stop faster so you can get moving on the job. Please do not, you're going to be tempted to do all of these three things. You need to really make sure that you don't. And this is when your accidents happen, not right after the safety brief or watching this lecture. It's going to be 6 months down the road when you haven't had any accidents and haven't gotten shocked, and then you're going to get a wake-up call. All right, so be safe.